So we often hear the term Free Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. The Palestinians, they're this indigenous people that were usurped by these foreign Zionists. And really, we just want to see them freed and liberated. Well, Mossab Hassan Youssef is the son of a Hamas co-founder and co-leader. He himself grew up in the heart of the Free Palestine movement. He was fed this ideological zeal of going against Israel. Well, I want you to watch this clip of him where he's being asked about his identity as a Palestinian, because he is unafraid to tell the truth. And this is in a debate. I think it was with Cenk Uygur, actually. And he's asked about the concept of Free Palestine and the Palestinian identity. He says the whole thing is actually a complete fraud.
Jewish is an ethnic group, it's a religion, it's a culture, it's a nation. Palestine and Palestinian is an ideology. It was born just yesterday. Judaism was born 5,000 years ago. It's the most ancient nation on the planet. What are you talking about? What is Palestine? What is Palestinian?
What are you?
I am an Arab. I was born in Judea, an Arab. This is my ethnicity. This is my language. Okay? Palestinian, this is something made up by Yasser Arafat, an Egyptian con artist. Jewish is an ethnic...
Yeah. That's brave for him to say that. He's saying that, this is not someone in another part of the world making a comment about the Palestinians saying, well, I don't think they actually have a distinct national identity. But he himself is saying it. I want you to read you the words of a tweet that he said. He said, as long as Palestinians, quote unquote, continue to believe there was an Arab country called Palestine that is occupied, the vicious cycle of violence will continue. Believing that Palestine was anything but a colonial entity created and terminated by the British Empire in 1922 to 1948 is insanity. Accusing Israel as an occupying authority of a country that never existed is a lie that must stop. Arabs must admit their failure to establish an Arab country back in 1948 when Israel was established is the first step in the right direction. The future of the Arab and Jewish children depends on deconstructing this lie. If the world really wants to help Arabs and Jews achieve peace, then the Palestinian false narrative of occupation, ethnic cleansing, apartheid, and genocide has to come to an end. Palestine is an illusion. It exists only in the head of hateful individuals who are in denial of reality. You know, the remarkable thing is that... Oh, sorry, didn't mean to show the Hezbollah supporters there. The remarkable thing is that this land, this strip of land that is the land of Israel, has only ever had one group of people have a sovereign state there. In the thousands of years of history, there's only been one group that's ever had a sovereign state. The Jews. On 3 occasions. The Jewish kingdoms, and then, of course, the re-establishment of Jewish sovereignty. All the other times, it was foreign nations and empires who simply had it as a colonial outpost, the land. From the Ottomans to the Crusaders to the Romans, who renamed the land Palestine, not to reflect any people that lived there, but to sever the Jewish connection. Palestine was named after the Philistines, who were this ancient people who were an enemy of the Jews, a foreign group of people that were an enemy of the Jews, the Philistines, now extinct. And so Mossab has the bravery and courage to say that we are Arabs. We're part of the Arab world. The reason we're here is because there was an Islamic conquest of the land in the 7th century, and many Arabs moved to the land. And fair enough. And by the way, many Arabs actually started moving there as well during the 19th century when Jews started returning to their homeland because they were starting to make the land more prosperous and fertile. And Jews didn't come there and usurp the land and steal it. They purchased land legally. In fact, I want to show you an amazing clip. This is an Arab woman who's asked about the Jews supposedly taking the land. Have a watch what she says. An elderly Arab woman. Yeah, that's exactly right. The land was purchased through legal means. as Jews began returning to their ancient, indigenous, biblical homeland. And going back to this point about Palestinian identity, the Arab leadership, the Palestinians who created the term, said from the get-go, the early leaders from the Hajj Amin al-Husseini to Arafat, others, PLO founders, they said this really is just a struggle of the Arabs. And they saw themselves as Arabs, not as a distinct national identity. Hajj Amin al-Husseini and other Palestinian leaders were happy to be part of southern Syria. They thought that's what they could turn the land of Israel into. Other PLO leaders, in fact, the Palestine National Charter, which was set up by the PLO, said, we, the Palestinians, in one of their first clauses, consider ourselves a quote, inseparable part of the Arab people or Arab world. So they themselves say, we're not a distinct group of people, and Arabs are not indigenous to this land. So they're telling us who they are themselves. It's not me that's saying, oh, they've got a false claim of desire for unique national self-determination. They're telling us it. They're telling us these facts. I always like to get up this map. It shows what would have happened in 1948 if, God forbid, the Arabs would have won. This is what the land of Israel would look like, God forbid. Jordan would have a chunk, Egypt would have a chunk, Syria, Lebanon, they'd each have a chunk. Where's the Palestine? Where's the free Palestine? Similarly, it's important to see this map. So here you can see this is after the war, Israel's war of independence, started by the Arabs who refused to accept any Jewish state, alongside an Arab state that they were offered, which would have been basically a complete 50-50 split of the land, with actually the Jews having less fertile land and more desert. But anyway, the Jews won. But look at this map, because this was between 1948 to 1967, really, when the Six-Day War began. And look, you'll see in the south, Gaza controlled illegally by Egypt. The Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank as they term it, illegally occupied by Jordan. Now, why was there no desire by the Arabs then to create a Palestinian state in those territories? No, they just held on to it. No desire among the people of the Arabs living in Gaza or Judea and Samaria, or Egypt or Jordan, who are supposedly meant to be allies of the Palestinians. They don't do anything. They just hold on to the land and then try and decimate Israel and get rid of Israel again in 1967. And it was only in the 60s where the Arabs living in these territories decided to create a Palestinian flag identity and say Free Palestine, simply as a cynical ploy. And sometimes people say to me, people say, yeah, but Ollie, national identities can form later. They don't all have to form thousands of years ago. And I say, yeah, fine, fair enough. But this identity, the leaders themselves, the people themselves, history itself, is telling us that it's entirely cynical, that it's not genuine, and that they wouldn't care if they were controlled by some other Islamic or Arab empire, nation, entity. Their whole identity is simply about getting rid of the Jews. And therefore, going back to Mossab, he has the bravery, the courage to say the truth, which is that he is an Arab, part of the Arab world. Israel's tried for nearly a century to find a way to give them some kind of sovereignty, the Arabs living in what is ultimately Jewish land. And they've said, no, they just want to get rid of the Jews. And so there clearly has to be a shift now. A shift where Israel says, you know what, we're actually going to recognize the truth, which is that you don't want your own state. You just want us gone, number one. And number two, this land actually, if we look at things from a historical standpoint, from a legal standpoint, from a moral standpoint, from a quality of life standpoint, and I would say most important of all, from a spiritual standpoint, divine standpoint, the entirety of the land, from the river to the sea, belongs to the Jewish people. And the Jewish people have always been happy to have non-Jews living in the land with them, as Israel shows on every single day. But they just have one tiny, incy request, which is, if you're going to live here, don't try to kill us. If you made it so far in this video, that means you probably appreciate the work we're doing at JTV to spread the truth about Israel and create positive associations with Jews, Judaism and Israel for the entire world. I really believe that part of fighting anti-Semitism is to create pro-Semitism and share and inspire people with the truth. There's so much anti-Israel media, online channels, and I think that it's time we start competing with them. We're already having a big impact, but there's a lot more that we can do. I've got a plan, a vision, which is to start doing more documentaries, animated content, having more presenters like me doing other shows to really accelerate the growth and impact that we're having. The impact is really good, but there's even more we could be doing. So we're doing a crowdfunding campaign in order to fund that vision and to scale JTV. The question is, would you consider partnering with us? Would you consider donating to this crowdfunding campaign in order to partner with us in scaling JTV, partnering with us in spreading the truth of Israel, Judaism and Jews to the entire world? If you would, please click on the donate button in the link below this video. The campaign's official launch is in a few days from now, but you can actually donate right now. So please click on the link if you want to partner with us in sharing the truth and spreading it to all corners of the world through the power of the internet. Again, click on the link in the video description of this video and please support the work we're doing. I'd be so grateful for any support you're able to give, and you truly will become a partner with us in our mission.